अभिषेक, अद्वित, अमन, अमन राव, अमन सिंह, अंकित पांडे, अंकिता राय, अंशुल, अर्पित, आशीष, अव्या, चिराग खन्ना, हर्ष, हर्षित, जूही, काजल, कोयना, कृति, नमीत, नाजिया, नेहा सक्सेना, नेहा उपाध्याय, निहारिका, निर्गम, पलक, पारस, प्रफुल्ल, प्रथम, प्रीति, प्रियंका कुमारी, राहुल, रवि, ऋषिका, रिया, रोहित, रोशन, साक्षी, सौरभ सिंह, सौरभ तिवारी, सौरभ राय, शीतल, शिवानी चौहान, शिवानी साइनी, शिवानी शर्मा, शुभम, स्नेहा, सुनाली, सुरभि, सुशांत, सैयद फैज, तानिया कटियार, तानिया सिंह, तुषार, वंशिका, विजयदीप, विकास, जैनब, कुमार ऋषभ, इंज मामूल, स्नेहा खान, दिव्यांशु, दिव्यांशु, आशुतोष, प्रत्यक्षा, सीमा, शुभम, आशीष, अमित, रवि, अविनाश, second years, please respond to your roll calls. Section B, anyone is left for the attendance? अभिषेक, आदित्य शर्मा, आदित्य प्रकाश, आदित्य सिन्हा, आकाश, अक्षित, अमन, अमित, अनिरुद्ध, अंकित, अंकित तोमर, अनुराग, अपूर्व, अर्शी, आर्यन, अभिषेक, आयुष, नेम, रोल नंबर क्या? आयुष, आयुष पाठक, आयुषी कंसल, विप्लव, दीपक, दीपक यादव, देवेंद्र, दीक्षिता, दिनेश, गौरव, हिमांशु, हिमांशु सिंह, हिमांशु यादव, ऋतिक, इशिता, जानवी, जिज्ञांशु, कनिका, कुशल, किशन, कोमल, कृष्णा, कृतार्थ, नाल, कुणाल, कुणाल ठुकराल, महक, मनीष, मेघा, मोहम्मद आकिब खान, मुकुल, मुस्कान, नेहा, निखिल, निखिल तैयार, नितिन कुमार, ओजदीप, ओवेस, पल्लव, पंकज, पवन, प्रबल, प्राची, प्रद्युम, प्रतीक, प्रिंस, प्रिंसी, प्रिया, प्रिया सिंह, प्रियांशी, रचना, प्रियांशी शर्मा, राहुल, राहुल, राजा, रामिल, राजा, रामू, रश्मि, रिद्धिमा, रिचा, रिया, रिजवान, रिदम, साची, संस्कार, सौरभ, शौर्य, शिखा, शिखर, शाइनी, शिवम, सृष्टि, सौम्या, श्रीनाथ, उत्कर्ष, नहीं सेकंड ईयर, विभोर, यश, एनीवन एल्स इज लेफ्ट? लगा दिया। हाँ ले रही है कुणाल आहूजा का भी आइए। कौन? संजय कुमार या विकास? Anyone else is left for the attendance? Everyone, please maintain the decorum. Guests are arriving.
आदित्य, वो कर्टन्स गिरा दो, पीछे वाला कर्टन्स गिरा दो। हाँ, दोनों तीनों।
Those who all are left for the attendance, please raise your hand. From section A. Section A, anyone else is left? Section B, those who all are left for the attendance, please raise your hand. हाँ हो गई उसकी।
मेरा
हाँ हो गया।
प्रगति का
Second year, those who are left for the attendance, please raise your hand.
दिनेश मेहता कर देना। सौरभ कुमार, शिखर श्रीवास्तव, नाइन थ्री, सौरभ कुमार, आयुष पाठक, शिवम सिंह, एक और है वो सेकंड ईयर वाले सब बैठे हैं। शिवम सिंह हाँ और लगा दे आयुष पाठक लगा दे। अरे तेरे को यही पे और किसका बचा? गौरव, दीपक यार।
हेलो
अभी आप एक नाम दे दो, वो सेकंड ईयर सब बैठा हुआ है।
अमित
गुप्ता
हेलो
अमित गुप्ता को लगा देना। अमित गुप्ता पांडे।
Yes, ma'am, रखिए। Everyone, please be quiet as the guests are arriving. Anyone else is left for the attendance?
Hello. Guys, please be settled. The guest is about to come in 2 minutes.
To all are left for the attendance, please raise your hand. Anyone else is left for the attendance? No?
Guys, everyone, please maintain the decorum and discipline committee, please. सिद्धांत, ऋतिक, बैक साइड से बहुत शोर आ रहा है.
क्यों खराब कर रहे हो?
Hello. Check. Okay.
Please welcome our guest with a huge round of applause. The budget is not just a collection of numbers, but an expression of our values and aspiration. On this note, I, Ruchilala, PGDM Batch 2022-24, welcome you all to the expert session on Understanding Union Budget 2023. Today, we are privileged and honored to have among us such eminent personalities, Advocate Vijay Sardana, Dr. Chandan Sharma, CA Jayend Malhotra, and Mr. T.K. Arun. He will be joining us later. A big round of applause for all the guests. Advocate Vijay Sardana. He is an alumni of well-known leading institutes like IIM Ahmedabad, CFTRI Mysore, College of Dairy Science, and Indian Law Institute, New Delhi, and acquired professional qualification from WIPO, Geneva, and Harvard University, USA, with wide global experience of more than 20 years in various leadership positions. Mr. Sardana was awarded for his exemplary work and contribution. Shri Pranab Mukherjee, Honorable President of India, gave Special Contribution Award for the development of commodity markets in India and the Global Agricultural Leadership Award for exception contribution for development of food business and commodity trade by Governor of Haryana and Uttar Pradesh. He is also recognized by the first ever Best Alumni Award of the Institute by College of Dairy and Food Science and Technology. He is also well-known column writer, author, blogger, panelist, and well-known moderator and speaker in international and national conferences. Vijay Sardana is also in the management committee member of Solvent Extractors Association of India, life member of Indian Dairy Association, Poultry Federation of India, All India Management Association, and consulting editor and member of editorial board of food processing, besides member of other important association and professional bodies. With a huge round of applause, we welcome you, sir. May I now request our Dean Academics, Dr. Tapan Kumar Nayak, to present a sapling as a symbol of prosperity to our distinguished guest, Advocate Vijay Sardana, as a welcome gesture. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, please go ahead.
Dr. Chandan Sharma, he is a professor of economics at Indian Institute.
Go ahead.
Dr. Chandan Sharma is a professor of economics at Indian Institute of Management, Lucknow, India. He teaches econometrics and macroeconomics at postgraduate level. His research focuses on applied econometrics, trade, industrial economics, infrastructure development economics, political economy, and shadow economy. He has completed research and consultancy projects sponsored by several governments and multilateral institutions such as Ministry of Finance, GOI, UNSK, etc. His research work have appeared in several leading economics and business research journals such as Journal of Travel Research, Economics Letter, Energy Economics, Economics Modeling, Policy Modeling, International Review of Financial Analysis, etc. In addition, he has co-authored a research book on corruption and growth published by Cambridge University Press. He has also written books on econometrics and international economics for postgraduate students published by leading publishing houses. He is a recipient of Best Young Economics Award given by the Indian Econometrics Society. He holds a PhD from University of Delhi. We welcome you, sir. Please have a huge round of applause. May I now request our Dean Academics, Dr. Tapan Kumar Nayak, to present a sapling as a symbol of prosperity to our distinguished guest, Dr. Chandan Sharma, as a welcome gesture. Thank you so much, sir. CA Janendra Malhotra is a practicing chartered accountant having 14 years of experience in tax planning and investment consulting. He also holds masters in accounting and finance from Manchester Business School and having a teaching experience of more than 14 years apart from having 8 years in industry. He is also associated with FMS Delhi, Delhi University, Shahid Sukhdev College of Business Studies, Delhi University, MDI Gurgaon, Jaipuria Institute of Management, Ghaziabad, Jagat Institute of Management Studies. His area of specialization includes financial and management accounting, corporate finance, and tax planning. In past, he has conducted different courses for a number of management institutes like International Management Institute and Bridge School of Management. He has been a part of ICAI Training Institute of Chartered Accountants of India as a part of statutory training program. With a huge round of applause, we welcome you, sir. May I now request our Dean Academics, Dr. Tapan Kumar Nayak, to present a sapling as a symbol of prosperity to our distinguished guest, Jayendra Malhotra, the welcome gesture. Thank you so much, sir. Mr. T.K. Arun is a Delhi-based journalist and columnist. He writes extensively on a range of subjects overlapping with political economy. He has been the resident editor of Economic Times at Delhi, headed the Economy Bureau, and looked after the editorial page of the paper in the past. He has worked as a technical advisor at the Kerala State Planning Board before beginning his career in journalism in 1992 at the Observer of Business and Politics. He did his master's in economics from the Center of Economic Study and Planning, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. With a huge round of applause, we welcome you, sir. May I now request our Dean Academics, Dr. Tapan Kumar Nayak, to present the sapling as a symbol of prosperity to our distinguished guest, Mr. T.K. Arun, as a welcome gesture. Thank you so much, sir. On behalf of whole Jaipuria family, we welcome you all. May I now request our Dean Academics to please address the gathering.
Thank you, Ruchi. Good morning. Good morning. Good, thank you. Honorable guest on the dais, Sri Trike Arun sir, Vijay Sadhana sir, Jayan ji and Chandan ji. On behalf of the entire Jaipur School of Business academic fraternity, the management fraternity, on behalf of Dr. Rajiv Thakur, the Director General of Jaipur School of Business, and on my personal behalf, I take this as my privilege, my pride, honor to welcome you all, sir, on this very, very pertinent and much discussed topic, which is known to everyone, but we need to see, we need to understand the intricacies on which we have given the name of this particular session, the Understanding Union Budget 2023. So thank you so much. We feel privileged to have you amongst us, and I'm sure the new boarding managers of Jaipur School of Business, 5 years, 10 years down the line, those who are dreaming themselves to be the analyst, to be the managers, to be the flag bearer of different companies, would definitely get benefited from your enriching experience, your knowledge, your information, and your wisdom. My dear friends, I mean, although the market is now buzzing towards, the highly discussed topic, I mean, if I'm talking about today, it's all about, how Adani's share is going down. But we'll not discuss this thing today. We'll stick to the discussion, which is Union Budget 2023, which was discussed in the Parliament on 1st of February 2023 by Honorable Finance Minister, Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman. Friends, we all know what the budget is. I don't dare to speak a lot in front of the galaxy of luminaries, those who are sitting on the dais. I myself feel privileged to hear them, to listen them today on different aspects of the budget. As I was saying you, that the budget we all know, it is nothing but a financial statement of the government. It is nothing but the equation of income and expenditure of the government. But all of you need to understand the intricacies, the different parameters, the different categories, both in the income side and the expenditure side, which we call it normally the investment side. I was talking to Jayanji, Chandanji, and Vijay sir few minutes ago that it is not important to understand the budget as such, but it is important to understand from where we get the money and where it goes. And the moment we think about investment, the moment government thinks about expenditure, where it does, how it does. What is the strategy behind spending the income? What is the strategy behind investing the income on different fronts? If I look into the different aspects of budget, which has already been presented by the Honorable Finance Minister on 1st of February, okay? Though there are many things, few days back, maybe 1 or 2 months back, we were discussing in the classroom also that this budget is going to be an election budget. This budget is going to be a candy lollipop budget. This budget is going to be a populist budget. But nothing happened like this, let me tell you. This government is so smart. Rather, I should thank the finance minister under the advice of the entire NDA government. The credit goes to the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, that the way they have presented this budget, it's not a populistic budget, not a candy lollipop budget, not an election budget. It is more towards an infrastructure-led growth budget. If you look at key highlights of the budget, which has been presented on 1st of February, you'll find I have categorized 7 key highlights of the budget, which has been already presented, 7 priorities. One, that 20 lakhs CR has been allocated for agriculture, which we were discussing with Bijay sir few minutes ago. I mean, on the downstairs, that the government is more inclined towards investing into the rural areas, trying to connect the rural areas into the urban areas, digitalization of the rural investment, the rural population. The second is, I was telling you that this budget is more towards the infrastructure-led budget, right? 10 lakhs CR for CapEx, the capital expenditure which has been planned, and that not only going to, enhance the entire infrastructure of the country, but of course it is going to primarily, prima facie, on the railway and the road infrastructure for the economy, right? And the third is 7,000 crores for the e-court. I'm not going to make much light on this. Vijay sir, I believe he is going to talk on this particular front. Then in 2024 financial year, as we have already discussed, that in 2023, the finance minister has already set the target for fiscal deficit, which is 6.4. In 2024, it has been targeted to make it down to 5.9. Very good, right? This is one of the most important fact, because I was telling you, it is not going to be a populistic candy lollipop budget, that government is not trying to make everyone happy. वो कहते हैं ना कि आप सब लोगों को खुश नहीं रख सकते हैं. अगर सब लोगों को खुश रखना है तो फिर स्टेट में जाके आइसक्रीम बेचना शुरू कर दो, right? You cannot make everyone happy in this country when we talk about 140 crores population, right? Then the custom duty in consumer durables reduced from 21% to 13%. Why I'm telling you these 7 priority sectors, that after the session, after listening to the luminaries sitting over here, you just think, you just intricate that where, as a management graduate, as a management student, to focus on where the country is heading, where the economy is heading, where you can see the economy 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line, if such movement, such strategies are continued. So far as the government is concerned. Then this 6th one, the personal income tax, which everyone was waiting for. The cap has been increased from 5 lakhs to 7 lakhs. I'm not going to talk much on this, right? Jayan sir is the right person to tell you what exactly is going to benefit you or your parents or to the economy as a whole. And last but not the least, the new tax regime, right, which has started from 0 to 3, nil, then 5, 10, 15, 20, and 30%. Earlier, it used to be 5, 10, 20, and 30%. So that also, I mean, these 7 priority areas were, in short, I tried to elaborate, but I'm sure the luminaries sitting over here is going to make you more light on the entire budget, where it starts, where it heads. So with this, not daring much, sir, to speak on this. So I once again, on behalf of each one of us, welcome you to Jaipur School of Business. And I'm sure, I strongly believe, and I'm quite sure that this session is going to be highly fruitful for all of us today. And thank you, my dear students, for your, and I'm sure you all will participate. You must have some queries with you, some questions with you. You must have gone through the entire budget, which has already been presented. We already have shared the different parameters with you, right? Keep the questions intact with you after the session, or whenever they'll open the forum. I would request Sapna ji, who is going to moderate the session today, to invite more questions from the students to make it more and more live. So thank you so much. And I wish you a happy learning today. Thank you and God bless you all.
Thank you so much, sir. I now request Professor Sapna Jain to moderate the session.
Thank you so much, Ruchi. And I am welcoming again the guests. So, sir, before we start with the session, everybody is looking into taxation. I hope 85% of the population is looking into taxation. They want something in taxation. Do we think that Modi government is succeeded to set up criteria that the budget is of infrastructure budget, it is futuristic, and it's not a lollipop budget? So I'm requesting Advocate Vijay Sardana ji to say something on this.
थैंक यू। आप सब लोग कब पास आउट हो रहे हो? एक जना बता दो। आई थिंक सब एक साथ ही पास आउट होगा। 24 latest by 24. Okay, some will pass out this year, some will next year. Outcome of this budget will be analyzed in the year of 2024. So this budget is for you. मैडम का सवाल ये था कि इस बजट में इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर टैक्सेशन पे क्या कहा गया है। मेरा थोड़ा सा टेक अलग है। इस समय हम इनकम नहीं कर रहे हैं, हमारी सैलरी नहीं आ रही है, तो आई डोंट वांट टू स्पेंड माय टाइम ऑन दैट एज ए स्टूडेंट। मेरे लिए क्या है इस बजट में, और मैं कोशिश करूंगा उससे मैडम को लिंक करने का। इस बजट के 3 डायमेंशन हैं और तीनों चीजें इंटरलिंक्ड हैं। इस बजट में एक सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट फोकस है ग्रीन इकोनॉमी को लेकर। तो जितना इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर स्पेंडिंग है इस बजट में, डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली टुवर्ड्स दैट। नंबर 2, अगर हिंदुस्तान को आज की दुनिया में कॉम्पिटेंट बनना है और आप लोगों को कुछ अच्छे जॉब चाहिए, तो पिछले लाइफ में या पिछले 5 साल पहले आपने क्या पढ़ा उसका कोई रेलेवेंस नहीं है इस बजट के हिसाब से। This budget is focusing on future of India, not the history of India. और फ्यूचर के लिए जो हमको सोचना है उसमें 3 डायमेंशंस हैं। One of the big focus this budget is giving thrust is on digitization. अभी तक हम लोगों ने अर्बन इंडिया के डिजिटाइजेशन पे बात करी। This budget is giving extra focus on digitization of rural economy. दूसरा इस बजट में जो फोकस है वो है न्यू स्किल सेट्स विच आर लिंक्ड टू इंडस्ट्री 4.0। वहां पे एमबीए कहां फिट होता है मुझे नहीं पता। वन हैज टू बी क्रिटिकल। मैं भी एमबीए हूं तो आई हैव टू बी क्रिटिकल माई सेल्फ। फ्यूचर इज टेक्नोलॉजी ओरिएंटेड ग्रीन इकोनॉमी। अगर आप लोग इस बजट को देखना चाहते हैं तो 2 एंगल से देखिए। हाउ मच वी आर अपग्रेडिंग आवर स्किल सेट टू अलाइन विद चेंजिंग इकोनॉमी ऑफ इंडिया विच इज गोइंग टू बी ग्रीन एंड डिजिटल। अगर हमने उस पर ध्यान नहीं दिया तो जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटी श्रिंक होंगी, बिकॉज फ्यूचर इज ऑफ स्टार्टअप्स एंड स्टार्टअप्स आर लुकिंग फॉर people, those who can deliver, not the jobs. तो जो पूरा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर स्पेंडिंग है, whether it is on a skill set, whether it is on warehousing, whether it is on digital infrastructure, whether it is on new ports, airports, water ports, heliports, export orientation, जितना भी स्पेंडिंग है, मैं डिटेल में नहीं जाऊंगा कि बजट में क्या है। दो बहुत अच्छे ऐप भारत सरकार ने बनाए, आप लोग अपने मोबाइल पे डाउनलोड कर दीजिए, इकोनॉमिक सर्वे ऑफ इंडिया एंड यूनियन बजट। ये दोनों ऐप इंटरनेट पे हैं, अंग्रेजी आप पढ़ना जानते हैं, पढ़ लीजिए, सब समझ में आ जाएगा। मेरा फोकस है कि बिटवीन द लाइंस इंटेंशन क्या है सरकार का, जो लिखा हुआ है उसको मैं रिपीट नहीं करता। इंटेंशन इज वेरी क्लियर, वी नीड a better, progressive, green, high efficient India to compete and survive in the changing global economy. अगर आप उसमें फिट बैठते हैं, you will be required. अगर आप उसमें फिट नहीं बैठते हैं, you will be forced to upgrade your skills. उसके बाद भी अगर आप नहीं करते हैं, there will be alternates of you available in the market. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I have a question as you say about startups and so. So, sir, as of now, as per my research and as per my analysis, startups are contributing only 2.5 in Indian economy. Whereas when we talk about SME sector, they are contributing more. And if I look into the number, new startups are only 85,000 in India, whereas SME sector, if we look into the industry, these are 13 crore. So their contribution is high. So what special in this budget is there for startups? And we have seen that various startups has been failed in past.
My take is something reverse. Startups of India will define the future because they are the disruptors of the economy. MSMEs are unfortunately doing very little innovation. I am part of the advisory team. There is a global advisory team of Asian Productivity Organization, Tokyo. And we have very clearly defined the future of any economy or any society is innovation. If any society, any company not doing innovation will be wiped out in 5 years. It doesn't matter what size scale they have. MSME of India still wants to survive. I know many of them. Their father established the factory. Kids are running the same business with this hope that business will continue for next 20 years. They are living in history, not in future. They will be wiped out. Startups will take over unless the MSME will learn to change. So market economy or economic is a dynamic place. It is not a static place. So this 2%, whatever is the startups today, in down the line 10 years will reverse the equation. They will occupy the space of MSME, and the exist MSME, those who are not willing to learn and change, will be NPAs, or these startups will take over them or their assets and upgrade them. You have to be very clear, ruthless. Market only respects what is relevant. Market is a place where there is no space for emotions and liking or disliking. What performs will survive, what will not perform will vanish, including us. बहुत बार हम लोग कहते हैं कि आप इतने रूथलेस कैसे हैं? आप में से कितने लोग डिफेक्टिव प्रोडक्ट बाजार में जाके खरीदना चाहते हैं? आप में से कितने लोग आउटडेटेड मॉडल्स बाजार में जाके खरीदना चाहते हैं? आप में से कितने प्रोडक्ट हैं जो एक्सपेंसिव प्रोडक्ट नॉट डिलीवरिंग वैल्यू फॉर मनी खरीदना चाहते हैं? कोई नहीं. So when we go as a customer, we are ruthless. But when we go as an employee, we want everybody should be considerate. ऐसा नहीं होता. We are technically a service provider. If we are not providing services which is required by the economy, we are not required. So we have to constantly upgrade ourselves. तो हमारे जो यंग साथी बोलते हैं ना कि एक बार डिग्री मिल जाए, नौकरी मिल जाए, फिर किताब को हाथ नहीं लगाऊंगा, इस कॉन्सेप्ट को जितना जल्दी हटा देंगे लाइफ में सुखी रहे. So your point is MSME segment majority is static, phasing out. Startups will take over. speed of change and disruption will become faster because artificial intelligence, digitization, as that concept will spread faster, the transition will become much faster. And I always say that I was with my team in Auto Expo in Greater Noida to see what new technologies are doing, because I'm running 40 laboratories with 350 scientists and setting up a new R&D facility, state of art, with 150,000 square feet in Gurgaon. And I can tell you what was displayed in Auto Expo, supposed to be today's advanced technology. And my gut feel is down the line, 5 years, they all will be outdated. That's the speed we are looking into the R&D now. So we have to accept the speed at which the world is changing. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. So we have two economists among our panel. So I'm requesting TK Arunji to speak on something on this, and then I'll take the views of Chandan sir as well.
You want me to speak on MSME or you want to speak on the overall
Sir,
nature of the budget?
Our student would like to know both the things, because MSME sector is a huge sector in industry. If I say 95% of industries are MSME in India, so only 2.5% startups are contributing in Indian economy. And in fact, government has given some benefits in budget as well. So I would like to do some comparison, as Satana sir have done something saying that the new era is of startups.
Sure. I would like to think these are actually different classifications. Once a startup takes over, survives, it becomes an MSME, right? Then it depends on how it manages the environment, how it's able to market its product, how innovative it is. But there is one crucial difference. MSMEs in this country are an amazing lot. If one of you can actually run MSME, that's all. They get no credit. Only 15% of the credit of the MSME sector comes from formal institutions, from banks. Majority of their credit comes from informal sources, where they pay 30%, 35% rate of interest. And when they supply, if an MSME supplies to a large producer of the finished goods, he is producing a part and is supplying to the larger factory, he is paid after 6 months. He is raising capital, working capital at a 30% rate of interest, and he is giving credit to Ashok Leyland or Tata Motors for 6 months. Still, that guy is surviving. Just imagine what will happen if you could get credit at 14% rate of interest, and if Tata and Leyland would pay him on time. So one of the things I like in this budget is a provision to make people pay MSMEs at least within a year. They have said that you will get a certain tax. You can claim a payment made to an MSME as an expense only if that payment is made in the year for which you are filing the tax return, which means that people are referring to more than 1 year. We have tried to create a system called TREADS, Trade Receivables Electronic Discount Platform. It didn't really take off. Even government companies didn't register, which is supposed to, facilitate MSMEs to factor their receivables. You know what factoring is? You know what bill discounting is? You know what factoring is? So in bill discounting, the bank takes the bill of sale from the MSME and at a discount. That means, so he doesn't get the full money. The bill is for 100 rupees. The bank will give him, say, 88. The man is happy that he is getting at least 88 right now. But the obligation to collect the money from the buyer is still with MSME. The MSME has to get this money and then repay to the bank. In factoring, the obligation to collect this money is taken over by the factor. So in which case the MSMEs completely escapes the responsibility of having to collect this money. See, the factor is a bank and the MSME's customer was a large company, Tata. It is easier for the bank to force Tata to pay than it is for the MSME to force Tata to pay. So factoring is a better, more convenient thing for the MSME, but companies refuse to come onto the factoring platform. So this year, this kind of a provision has been made in the budget. I hope it will help the MSMEs. I think there are 7.6 crore registered enterprises in this country, including, individual enterprises, own account companies, plus small, micro, medium enterprises. See, startups, what is a startup and what is an MSME? It's a very arbitrary classification. But if somehow you manage to get yourself classified as a startup, you get capital to burn. It comes with a burn rate. Chalo beta. You spend 1 rupee and get 90 paise. I'm happy. If you are an MSME, you get no capital. I mean, you have to raise capital at extremely heavy cost. Now, this is a very unfortunate set of situation. Your credit market is segmented. In India, the credit market is very widely segmented in very many ways. How many of you have heard of a chit fund or a committee? Right. So it is a segmented credit market. They pool their own savings and they lend to who are members of that pool. The rate of interest determined by how urgently somebody requires a loan from that pool. That is one segmented credit market. Another committee is another segmented credit market. Those who have access to banks are a different segment. Those who have access at least to some NBFC, which might lend at a higher rate than a bank, but still it's somewhat institutionalized, they are another segment. And those who are at the mercy of money lenders, that's a different segment. Those who are forced to pledge themselves as commodity, as to mortgage themselves to get a loan, that's a different segment. They then end up working in big kilns and as bonded labor. So we are a very complex, large, diverse country where there are all different varieties. But let me just say something about the budget. Why the budget is important. It's not just the individual schemes in the budget. The overall size of the budget, the total expenditure matters. After all, when the government spends, it creates demand, right? The government sends on its employees, civil servants, they in turn go and spend, that creates demand. The government spends on investment, that creates demand. So all government expenditure creates demand. So how large government budget is a very important matter, not just the capital expenditure or the fiscal deficit, all these things, how large the budget is. In India, typically, governments have been able to increase the size of the budget as a proportion of GDP only by increasing the fiscal deficit. Because the government ultimately has to anchor its spending on how much it generates as taxes, right? You people have any idea, as a proportion of GDP, what is India's tax collections? How much does India collect as taxes? Number, throw up a number. Huh? As a proportion of GDP. 40%, 20%, 10%, 5%. Hey, you're a management student, what are you? Kitra? 13. Any idea? Any other opinion? We collect, not too bad, we collect 17% of GDP as our entire tax kitty. The center and the states combined. The average for the OECD, the club of rich countries, is 34%. We don't collect enough tax. A lot of people are too poor to pay income tax, but all of them pay indirect taxes. right? When Mr. Mukesh Ambani buys a box of matches, he will pay, suppose the GST contained in that is 1 rupee, he pays 1 rupee. When a Rishabh strikes up a BD and buys a box of matches, he'll also pay that 1 rupee indirect tax, right? But as a proportion of the BD, the Rishabh's income, this 1 rupee is way higher than it is that 1 rupee is as a proportion of Mukesh Ambani's, right? So indirect taxes are actually regressive. You are taxing the poor more than you are taxing the rich through indirect taxes. Whereas income taxes, they tax the rich more than they tax the poor. The poor actually don't have to pay any tax, income tax. You know, you heard lots of critics of economic reforms and liberalization and so on as this being pro-rich, neoliberal, and all that. Before the economic reforms began, the share of indirect taxes in the center's tax collections was 80%. Today, the share of indirect taxes in the center's tax collections is a little below 50%. That means taxation has become more progressive thanks to economic reform and greater wealth generation and efficacy in taxing people. Many people fail to appreciate because of the rising disparity in incomes, they believe that everything is going against the poor. No, taxation in this country has become more progressive, which is good. So size of the budget matters. Currently, it is 14.9%, the latest budget. Last year's budget was 16% of GDP. The pre-pandemic average budget in India was around 13% for the Modi government. So the budget used to be small. But because of the economic distress that we are seeing today, because of the lack of growth, lack of investment, governments are forced to increase the size of the budget. And so they are borrowing money and keeping total expenditure at 15-16% of GDP, which to my mind is good, is welcome. The second important parameter is the fiscal deficit. What is the fiscal deficit? 1%, stand up and say. Uh, 1%, what is the fiscal deficit?
Sir, 6.4.
No, conceptually, what is it? I am not asking for a number. What is the fiscal deficit?
Sir, it is a difference between the government total and total incomes.
Yeah. See, revenue and expenditure must equal, right? Revenue meaning the government receipts and expenditure must equal. So this is the borrowed part of the receipts, right? So these are government's borrowings. Yeah. The fiscal deficit is the government's borrowings. Why is everybody so obsessed about the fiscal deficit? Why are governments advised to keep it small, contain it below 3% or whatever? Because when the government borrows, who is it borrowing from? No, please. The government borrows hardly anything from external agencies. Bulk of the borrowing is from citizens. No. Okay, you're all students. You have some basic understanding of economics. You know that GDP is a sum of consumption, investment. Right. Everything we produce is either consumed or invested. But some bit of what we consume or invest is actually imported and some it is exported. So GDP is consumption plus investment plus X minus M, exports minus import, right? You take consumption to the other side of the equation along GDP. So GDP less consumption is investment plus X minus M, right? What you don't consume, that GDP less consumption, what is not consumed is what? is saving. The savings of the economy is equals investment plus X minus M. Now, when the government borrows, it is dipping into the economy's savings. The savings are not just for the government, it's primarily for the private sector to invest. Households, industry, to tap, to make its own investment. So if the government also tries to take away the same savings, and the private sector also wants to invest, then there is excess demand. Then the rate of interest will go up. There will be more demand in the economy than the economy produces. You will have price rises and you will have larger widening of the current account deficit because they'll import. So this is a source of macroeconomic stress. That is why fiscal deficit should be kept low. The government should not borrow too much. But in the current situation, when the private sector doesn't want to invest, because its capacity utilization is 70%, 75%, perhaps 60%, they see no reason to expand capacity. They are not investing. So savings are being unutilized. Then it makes sense for the government to actually borrow the savings and invest, and then through that investment create demand to meet which the private sector will also invest. And this is the strategy that the government is following. So I welcome this. Instead of kowtowing to the fiscal deficit hawks and being scared of rating agencies, the government has maintained a high level of fiscal deficit, it's 5.9% of GDP, and is planning to invest massively. Including, this you can read in the budget, you don't have to note down anything, including the grants in aid of capital formation. Total expenditure for capital expenditure would be 13.7 lakh crore. The total size of the budget is 45 lakh crore, and 13.7 lakh crore will go towards capital expenditure. Now, all capital expenditure doesn't actually mean it will go into investment. You give a loan, it's capital expenditure. You repay a loan, it's a capital expenditure. So, okay. So this is the reason why the fiscal deficit is important and people keep over. So these are two basic dimensions of the budget.
Thank you, sir. So I'm now requesting Chandan sir to say something about startups and MSME sector and SME sector as well.
Firstly, I'd like to tell on the taxes, right?
Okay.
I hope it's fine.
Okay.
So in the tax side, in my view, it's a huge disappointment, right? So understand that as Mr. Arun was telling that when the reform started, we started reducing the tax rates, especially in direct tax, right? And the tax revenue increased. And it's extremely important for economy like India, where you have more participation, less black money, less tax evasion. And the core of these problems that you have is coming from high tax rate. In the 70s, 80s, we had extremely high tax rate. You will be surprised to know that peak income tax rate was 97% marginal rate. So if you earning 1 rupees, 97 paisa tax you had to pay. So obviously we had the inefficiency in the system. Then we started decreasing the tax rates, started from the early 90s. And then what we realized that tax revenue, tax collection increased. Right. So what is showing that decrease the tax rates, people will pay more and more people will come in the tax net. Right. Unfortunately, from last 10 years, we going in the reverse way. So you have more surcharges, more cess, right? And see the tax collection is not improving. So it's more like, some bureaucrats' mind working that, okay, if you want more tax collection, increase the tax rate. Unfortunately, it does not work in that way. Right. So you have in economics what we call it a Laffer curve. So you have an optimal level of tax rate. Perhaps we are in the position not reach to the optimal tax rate. Decrease the tax rate, you have the more collections. And especially like a lot of people feel that you have the rich people increase the tax rate, and that is very good for equity. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Right, you have the more leakages when you have the tax rate, peak rate 42%, right? This particular year. So understand, even in the Nordic countries where you have everything taken care by the public sector, your health, education, security, even there you don't have that type of tax. In India, the government is not giving you children, education to your children. You have to take your medical expenses, right? When you're traveling, you have to pay toll tax. You have, if you buy a house, you have to keep a security guard for security reason, right? So everything you paying, and then you paying 42% tax. So what happened? People started leaving India or evading taxes. Only two things: or you don't work, don't earn more, right? So see the tax rate that going up, and this is a core of the problem. Here we have, right? So the tax rate after many years, little bit changed. Right? It's not even beating the inflation number. I give you one example. Suppose 2 years back, somebody was earning 45 lakh rupees, right? His real salary not increased. Nominal salary increased. It means now he's earning something around 55 lakh rupees, right? His real income has not increased, but now he has to pay surcharges. Now he is considered a rich person, right? It's so unfair. And it's this is creating a lot of problems. So even 22, you have the 8,000 high income people left India, right? So see in India, and then if I talk about the indirect tax side, especially the custom duty, it's extremely important. What we feel that increase the custom duties, so you have everything will start produced in India. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. So for example, when you use your phone or laptops, you have the many countries value addition included in that. Right. So what we have done, we have increased the custom duties a lot. Right. And that made India's production extremely difficult. So see that why not India in top 10 FDI receiving country? Why not many companies shifting their ways from China to India despite all the incentives, all the push? Right. So this is the core of the problem you have. You have to pay 20% taxes, right? Thinking that Indian companies start producing everything here locally, that no country, even Germany, Japan, South Korea, are not able to do it. And our technological situation is not like that. You can see the reflection that you have in this budget. Government has reduced tax duties on the camera phone. The camera that you have in the phone, lenses that you have. Despite all the efforts, we're not able to produce it. That is the fact. Right. So if you're thinking that overnight this will happen, this is never going to happen. Right. And our exporting is extremely dependent on importing. If you make imports costly, your exports going to be costly, you lose market in the world. And that exactly happening. See what happened to our export growth. You have hardly any growth in last decade or so. Extremely disappointing, right? So these are the areas, and this is surprising because you have a government which is very stable. They have the business support plan, huge mandate, and very good intent. But they are missing out perhaps these points, and that we all have to understand, right? So understand that these issues creating a lot of problem, and until we solve it, we're not going to get a lot of investment, even domestic investment not picking up, unfortunately. Right. I hope this.
Thank you, sir. So, क्योंकि हम टैक्स की बात कर रहे हैं, so how can we miss CA Jayendra Malhotra ji? So, sir, I have a question. So high tax rate has been reduced from to 25%, and surcharge is also reduced. So how it is going to affect government revenue, and will it be beneficial to the taxpayers, or do you think that more people will now cover under this scheme?
Okay, thank you so much. Pansan, let me tell you, the first boy I met at Jaipuria gave me a glimpse of how about this institute. So all the credit goes to you and your team for the wonderful guidance you are providing to them. It could be a sample chosen by you, but I don't know the name of that student, but he gave me the real picture of the generation which is going to go into the market with updation, proper updation. Absolutely wonderful. So, ma'am, before I go to your question, I have few points to be shared with everyone sitting here. So the total budget size, can somebody tell me what is the budget size? I think Arun sir just told me. Yeah, it's exactly 45 lakh crore rupees. Okay. How much is the revenue that the Modi government is generating to make this 45 lakh crore rupees available to them? How is the revenue? Which part of the revenue is coming from debt? Which is coming from taxes? Somebody tell me. So I have the exact figure. So as per the budget estimates provided by the government, it is 33.61 gross tax revenue, 33.61. Tapansan, you would be surprised, out of this 33.61, 9.56, 9.57 to be precise, comes from GST. So GST came in 1st July 2017. Sir, GST हुआ हमारा 3 इधर और 3, 6 साल पुराना. 6 साल पुराना टैक्स हमें देता है 9.57 लाख करोड़ रुपीस. हमारा इनकम टैक्स आया था 1961 में, वो देता है 9.01 ओनली. अब आप सोचो कि 2017 में हमारा जो टैक्स आया उसने हमें दिया 10 करोड़, जो 61 से है वो भी हमें दे रहा है 10 करोड़. इसका मतलब कहीं ना कहीं फ्लॉ टैक्सेस में हो रहा है. दिक्कत कहां आ रही है कि अगर हम ये 45 करोड़ रुपया नहीं लाते तो कीन्स का एक थ्योरम है. मैं इकोनॉमिक्स के साथ बैठा हूं बट मुझे इकोनॉमिक्स नहीं आता. I am a chartered accountant, so I'm good with numbers. So if you talk to me, talk with regard to numbers only. But there is a Keynes theorem. It states if the economy is not doing good, the government has to make a capex. Capital expenditure करना पड़ेगा. अरुण सर ने बड़ी अच्छी बात बोली थी, शायद आपने क्वेश्चन नहीं किया सर को. इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में जा रहा था 10 लाख करोड़, बट अरुण सर बोले 13 लाख करोड़. अभी कोई जना बताएगा वो 3 लाख करोड़ कहां से आया? क्योंकि बजट में मैम ने बोला था 10 लाख करोड़, 7.5 से बढ़ाकर 10 लाख कर रहे, 33% जंप, करीब करीब अच्छा खासा जंप है. बट अरुण सर बोल रहे हैं 13 लाख. अरुण सर गलत नहीं है, मैं पहले बताता हूं. ही इज एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट. वो 3 लाख करोड़ कहां से आ रहा है? हाँ,
सब प्राइवेट इन्वेस्टमेंट.
नहीं. तो क्या होता है बेटो, एक हमारा आर्टिकल 280 है ना. आर्टिकल 280 बोलता है कि अगर सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के पास कहीं से भी रेवेन्यू आएगा, उसमें से कुछ पार्ट आपको स्टेट को देना पड़ेगा. वो जो स्टेट को जा रहा है पैसा, उसमें से जो 3 लाख करोड़, 3 लाख करोड़ रुपया जो है वो केपेक्स करेगा स्टेट्स. तो ये मिला के हो गया 13 लाख करोड़. सर आपको प्रॉब्लम कहां पे आ रही है? मैम प्रॉब्लम यहाँ पे आ रही है, जो 45 लाख करोड़ का बजट है उसमें 12 लाख 12.19 गवर्नमेंट बॉन्ड से ला रहा है. दैट इज ह्यूज. दैट इज ह्यूज. 1 रुपए में से, सपना मैम पूछ रही थी, मैं जानना चाहती हूँ वो रुपए में से कहां से पैसा आ रहा है और कहां पैसा जा रहा है. तो 1 रुपए का 20%, सोच के देखिएगा, ₹1 का 20% सिर्फ ब्याज पे जा रहा है। साहब सुनिएगा ध्यान से, ये आप प्रिंसिपल नहीं पे कर रहे, हम सिर्फ ब्याज पे कर रहे हैं। ये एक अलार्मिंग सिचुएशन है। ₹1 में 20 पैसा बहुत ज्यादा होता है। सर इसका सीधा सीधा मतलब क्या है, अभी लोन वहीं का वहीं खड़ा है। अब केपेक्स नहीं करें तो ये लोग सब तीनों की तीनों सरकार के ऊपर 100% क्वेश्चन मार्क लगाएंगे, केपेक्स क्यों नहीं कर रहे। और अगर केपेक्स करते हैं तो हम पक्का बोलेंगे ब्याज पे आप इतना पैसा क्यों दे रहे। दिक्कत कहां आ रही है, अगर नहीं खर्च करते तो प्रॉब्लम, इनकम टैक्स बढ़ाओगे तो हम बोलना शुरू करेंगे। जैसे मैं बोलता हूं आई एम नॉट वेरी हैप्पी अबाउट दिस बजट, मैंने सरदारा सर को बोला था आई एम नॉट वेरी हैप्पी, तो सरदारा सर ने स्टेटमेंट में बोल दिया मोदी गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट मेकिंग एवरीबॉडी हैप्पी अबाउट इट। व्हाई आई एम नॉट हैप्पी, बिकॉज मेरे को बजट में कुछ नहीं मिला। सर आप क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे थे, मैं 80 एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा था, मैं सेक्शन 24 में कुछ ज्यादा चाह रहा था, मुझे लग रहा था कहीं मेरा पैसा बच जाए टैक्स से। अब दिक्कत कहां आ रही है सर, इन्होंने क्या गेम खेला है, गेम खेला कह लो या कुछ कह लो, मोदी गवर्नमेंट ने अब आप लोगों के लिए एक नया कॉन्सेप्ट डाल दिया है कि हर एक को नई रिजीम में जाना पड़ेगा। सर नहीं समझ में आया, पहले क्या होता था, यू हैड अ चॉइस बिटवीन द ओल्ड रिजीम एंड न्यू रिजीम, आपके पास चॉइस था। अब मैम ने क्या किया है, डिफॉल्ट कर दिया है न्यू रिजीम। सर डिफॉल्ट करने का मतलब आपको चूज करना पड़ेगा ड्यू डेट से पहले आप ओल्ड में रहना चाहते हो या न्यू में, जस्ट रिवर्स कर दिया। इसका मतलब यह हुआ कि मुझ जैसे बंदे को अगर ओल्ड रिजीम में रहना है तो ड्यू डेट से पहले फॉर्म जमा करना पड़ेगा कि साहब मैं न्यू रिजीम में नहीं आऊंगा, मेरे को ओल्ड रिजीम में रहने दो। हाँ
So there is one option that has been given by government. If you select to go in new regime, so one time you can come back into old regime.
अरे मैडम दिक्कत कहाँ आ रही है, आप समझ नहीं रहे। तपन सर मैं पेरिस आज भी नहीं गया, कोई नहीं मैं बता रहा हूं, मैं पेरिस आज तक नहीं गया और पिताजी के राज में उन्होंने भी नहीं एफोर्ड कर पाए। कारण, सपना मैम ध्यान से सुनिएगा, हमें समझाया गया था इनकम माइनस एक्सपेंडिचर इज इक्वल टू माय सेविंग। माय फादर वाज नॉट अ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, बट उन्होंने क्या गेम खेला, उन्होंने किया इनकम माइनस सेविंग इज इक्वल टू माय एक्सपेंडिचर। अब मुझे पता है पिताजी के पास पैसा है ही नहीं, तो बोल के फायदा नहीं। अभी ये गवर्नमेंट क्या बोलती है, इन मिलेनियम्स को खूब पैसा दो जिससे कि ये खर्च करें और सेविंग की हैबिट से दूर रहे। आप मेरी बात नहीं समझ रहे, आपको सेविंग से दूर कर रहे हैं वो। अब वो कह रहे हैं कि अब अगर आपको सेविंग करना है तो आपका चॉइस होगा, हम आपको डिडक्शन नहीं देंगे। समझे? अब प्रॉब्लम कहां है, पहले मैं अगर घर खरीदूंगा तो 24 पे 2 लाख का डिडक्शन मिलेगा। अब मैं ओल्ड रिजीम में हूं तो फायदा, नई रिजीम में वो कहते हैं कि 7 लाख तक रिबेट, उसके बाद आपका हम टैक्स लगाना स्टार्ट करेंगे। अब अगर गलती से आपने 7,10,000 रुपए कमा लिया तो आपको 0 से 3 0, फिर 3 से 6, 6 से 9 आपको स्लैब में आना पड़ेगा। सर प्रॉब्लम, हाँ
सर आप बोल रहे हो कि सेविंग के मना करें, सेविंग मत करो, ठीक है सर, ऐसे कि हम इन्वेस्ट करेंगे सर तब तो,
That's okay.
सर इन्वेस्ट करेंगे तब तो पैसे से पैसे जनरेट होगा।
सर तो आप करो ना, मेरा मन नहीं। सर, आप लड़ाई
सर अगर पैसे रखने से बढ़ता तो बैंक ना खुलता।
साहब आप अभी कंपाउंडिंग इफेक्ट को नहीं जानते।
सर जानते, मैं भी एजुकेशन लोन लेके पढ़ रहा हूँ सर।
आप मेरी बात समझो, तो आपका नेगेटिव कंपाउंडिंग चल रहा है। तो मेरे पास रहोगे तो मैं एक नया गाड़ी ले लूंगा। हो सकता है आपका थॉट प्रोसेस डिफरेंट हो। मुझे लगता है पैसे का ना जाना भी पैसे का आना होता है। तो पैसे को मत जाने दो, उसको कहीं इन्वेस्ट कर दो। अगर उस इन्वेस्टमेंट से मेरी टैक्स सेविंग हो रही है तो मुझे डबल बेनिफिट मिलता है। आप घर जाके इसको कैलकुलेट करना। अगर आपकी तनख्वाह 10 लाख से कम है तो आप ओल्ड रिजीम में रहो, 10 लाख से ऊपर है तो नए रिजीम में। चेक कर लो सर, आप कैलकुलेट करो 2 लाख रुपया का हाउसिंग लोन का ब्याज, 1.5 लाख रुपया 80C, 3.5 लाख एनपीएस का 50,000, 25,000 राजीव गांधी इक्विटी स्कीम, 50,000 रुपया का आपका मेडिक्लेम अगर सीनियर सिटीजन है आपके पर, नहीं तो 25,000। टीटीए टीटीबी अलग चलेगा, 10,000 50,000। मैं 3.5-4 लाख रुपए में तो पहुंच चुका हूं ना ऑलरेडी। तो मुझे लगता है कि एक बार आपको विचार, देखो सरकार कहीं ना कहीं ये चाह रही है कि आप पैसे को सेव करिए। नहीं, अगर आप सेव करते हैं तो उन्हीं को फायदा होगा। सर कैसे? आप देखो नई नई स्कीमें निकाली हैं मैम, आपके लिए भी है, आपके लिए सपना में 2 साल के, तो दिस इज %। अब आप अगर आज का मतलब 1 अप्रैल 2023 को 2 लाख रुपया जमा करोगे तो आपको 2 साल का वन टाइम 7.5% मिलेगा। अब आप सोचो गवर्नमेंट आपको भला कर रही है, नहीं, गवर्नमेंट अपने लिए फंड्स इकट्ठा कर रही है क्योंकि वो चाह रही है कि मैं अपनी बोरोइंग को नीचे करूं। जो सीनियर सेविंग सिटीजन स्कीम था जिसमें 15 लाख रुपए तक आप जमा कर सकते थे, उसको बढ़ा के कर दिया 30 लाख रुपया। अब इसका देखो एडिशनल 15 लाख रुपए गवर्नमेंट के पास पहुंच गया। फिर एक और इन्होंने स्कीम डाली है, उसको बोलते हैं मंथली इनकम अकाउंट स्कीम, जो साढ़े पोस्ट ऑफिस वगैरह में होता है। दैट वाज फॉर 4.5 लाख रुपीस, दैट हैज बीन रेज्ड टू 9 लाख रुपीस। अगर जॉइंट है तो 15 लाख रुपया। अब अगेन इन्होंने कहीं ना कहीं सेविंग्स पे जोर दे रहे, बट इसका बेनिफिट नहीं मिलेगा। आप मेरी बात समझ पा रहे कि नहीं?
सर आप एक चीज नहीं नोट किए सर, सुकन्या समृद्धि सर, इससे तो हम ही लोग को बेनिफिट है ना सर, हम ही लोग को बेनिफिट है सुकन्या समृद्धि।
सर उसके लिए बेटी का होना जरूरी है। पहला, अब अगर आप अगर बोल रहे हो सुकन्या जरूरी है तो कहीं ना कहीं आप मेरी बात को यस बोल रहे हो। क्यों?
These are only for cooperative.
नहीं, आपके लिए है, सिर्फ ये लेडीज के लिए है। गवर्नमेंट ने स्पेसिफिकली लेडीज के लिए बनाया है ये स्कीम। इट इज नॉट फॉर एनी हाउस, कॉर्पोरेट हाउस। दी अदर थिंग इज, सर ने बड़ी अच्छी बात बोली थी, अरुण सर ने, उसी को, प्लीज आप बैठ जाओ प्लीज, मैं दोबारा आपके पास आऊंगा जरूर। एक बार, मैं बहुत मेहनत करके आया हूं, मुझे कुछ बोलने दे। अभी अरुण सर ने बहुत अच्छा बात बोला कि जो टोटल टैक्स कलेक्शन, टू बी वेरी प्रिसाइज, इट इज 11.1% ऑफ द जीडीपी। 11.1% बहुत कम है, एंड आई कंप्लीटली एग्री विद चंदन सर। अब आपको टैक्स कलेक्शन पे जोर देना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि अगर आप थोड़ा सा भी टैक्स नीचे ले आते हो तो कॉम्प्लायंस बढ़ जाएगा। कॉम्प्लायंस कैसे बढ़ जाएगा? हर आदमी कहेगा चल कोई नहीं 5% देना है, लेट अस पे दैट 5%। गवर्नमेंट ने अपनी तरफ से कोशिश करी है। आई थिंक जो हायर स्लैब रेट वाले हैं उनको शायद से अब 25% तक का हाईएस्ट स्लैब रेट देना है, 41% को रिड्यूस करा है उन्होंने। अच्छा मैम, 2 चीजें शायद आप लोगों ने नहीं देखा, बट हम लोग थोड़े से निराश हैं। पहला, जीएसटी में आज भी ट्रिब्यूनल नहीं है सर। सरदाना सर, जीएसटी में आज भी ट्रिब्यूनल नहीं है। इसका मतलब अगर मेरे को जीएसटी में कहीं पे दिक्कत आती है तो मुझे सर के पास जाना पड़ेगा। सर के पास जाने का मतलब या तो मुझे हाई कोर्ट में जाना पड़ेगा या मुझे सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जाना पड़ेगा। इसका मतलब ट्रिब्यूनल का नहीं होना हम जैसों के लिए दिक्कत आनी स्टार्ट हो गई। सर कैसे? अगर आपको गवर्नमेंट से कोई प्रॉब्लम है, तो पहले ITAT होता है, जैसे इनकम टैक्स अपीलेट ट्रिब्यूनल। जीएसटी से बहुत उम्मीद थी कि वो ट्रिब्यूनल लेके आए, नहीं लेके आया। दूसरा जो नेगेटिव चला गया, एमनेस्टी स्कीम आनी चाहिए थी। वन टाइम गलती किया, गलती से हो गया गलती, या जो भी फोर्सफुली अनफोर्सफुली आपसे हो गया गलती, तो एक एमनेस्टी स्कीम ले आते, उसमें हम जैसे लोग जो क्लाइंट है उनसे गलती हो गया, वो एक बार में माफी मांग लेते, वो भी नहीं आई। नेगेटिव में और देखिए क्या है मेरे पास, मैम 2 मिनट और दूंगा मैं। आपने स्टार्टअप्स का बात किया था, स्टार्टअप्स में बहुत पॉजिटिव दिया है सर। पॉजिटिव क्या दिया है कि अब 1 मार्च 2024 तक अगर आप स्टार्टअप लेके आओगे तो आपको टैक्स इंसेंटिव हम और देंगे, 1 साल का एक्सटेंशन दे दिया। दूसरा उन्होंने बहुत अच्छी बात बोली कि अगर कोई स्टार्टअप लॉस कर रहा है तो हम सेट ऑफ और कैरी फॉरवर्ड 7 साल तक कर सकते थे, अब उसको बढ़ा के 10 साल कर दिया। अब यहाँ पे कुछ स्टार्टअप्स को थोड़ा और बेनिफिट हो गया, क्योंकि सर बहुत अच्छी बात बोल रहे थे कि कहीं ना कहीं कैपिटल बर्न हो रहा है, होना ही पड़ेगा। अगर कैपिटल बर्न हो रहा है, लॉस हो रहा है, तो चलो 3 साल का इंसेंटिव और दे दिया जाए। पॉजिटिव हुआ है न्यू रिजीम के लिए, उम्मीद से बढ़ के दिया था। 52,500 रुपीज का एक स्टैंडर्ड डिडक्शन आप लोगों को दे दिया है। अगर किसी को न्यू रिजीम में जाना है तो स्टैंडर्ड डिडक्शन मिल जाएगा। HRF कुछ नहीं मिलना न्यू रिजीम में, आपके सारे 45 डिडक्शंस उड़ा दिए। गॉट इट? अच्छा, लीव इनकैशमेंट बढ़ा दिया है, 3 लाख से बढ़ा के उसको 25 लाख कर दिया है। गिफ्ट सिटी के बेनिफिट्स बढ़ा दिया 31 मार्च 2025 तक। अगर आप IFSC कंपनीज हैं तो आप जा सकते हो। एक बहुत बड़ा बदलाव हुआ है सर सेक्शन 54 में। अब सब बच्चे थोड़ा सा ध्यान से सुनिए, बड़ा अच्छा सेक्शन है और मुझे पढ़ने में भी आया था, बट मैम ने इसमें थोड़ा सा ज्यादा इन्होंने कॉम्प्लिकेट कर दिया। सो सेक्शन 54 बोलता है इनकम टैक्स एक्ट का कि अगर आपके पास कोई घर है और आप उस घर को बेचते हो और उससे अगर आपको कोई कैपिटल गेन होता है, सपोज मैंने एक 10 करोड़ का घर लिया और 20 करोड़ का बेच दिया, तो मेरा कैपिटल गेन आया 10 करोड़। अब ये जो 10 करोड़ का घर आया मेरा इंडेक्स्ड कॉस्ट है, आई हैव ऑलरेडी यूज्ड द इंडेक्सेशन, सो मेरा 10 करोड़ का कैपिटल गेन है। सरकार ने बोला कि अगर आप ये 10 करोड़ रुपए का नया घर लेते हो तो हम आपको सेक्शन 54 में कोई भी टैक्स नहीं लगाएंगे, आप पार हो जाओगे। अब मोदी गवर्नमेंट ने पकड़ लिया सर, किसको? चंदन सर जैसे लोगों को। सर ये क्या करते हैं, ये खरीदते हैं 15 करोड़ का घर, 25 करोड़ का बेच देते हैं। अब बताओ 25 का बेचा, 15 का लिया, बेनिफिट कितने का हुआ? 10 का। अब इन्होंने क्या किया, 10 करोड़ का नया घर ले लिया और अपने 15 करोड़ बना लिए। बनाए कि नहीं बनाए? अब मोदी गवर्नमेंट ने चंदन सर को पकड़ लिया। वो बोलते हैं 10 करोड़ तक आप जितना गेन करते हो आप उतना अगर लगाओगे तो हम एग्जेम्प्ट कर देंगे। अगर गलती से आपने 15 का कैपिटल गेन कर दिया तो जो 5 लाख का ओवरशूट कर रहा है 10 करोड़ से, उसके ऊपर आपको टैक्स देना पड़ेगा। आप मेरी बात समझ रहे नहीं? तो आपको 10 करोड़ तक का सेक्शन 54 में दे दिया। यहां तक मैं बहुत खुश था कि चलो कहीं फायदा दे दिया, और जो लोग प्लेयर्स से, बिग प्लेयर्स से, उनको पीछे हटा दिया। क्योंकि अगर आप गलती से स्पेकुलेशन पे जाते हो तो आपको 5 करोड़ जो डिफरेंशियल अमाउंट है उसके ऊपर 30% पे करना पड़ जाएगा। अब सरकार कहती है सेक्शन 54F, यहां पे किसी ने बहुत अच्छा गेम कर दिया। सर गेम क्या किया है? सेक्शन 54F बोलता है इफ यू हैव एनी लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल एसेट अदर देन हाउस प्रॉपर्टी, आपके पास लैंड है या कुछ भी गोल्ड का है, कुछ है, और अगर आप उसके ऊपर कैपिटल गेन करते हो, उसके ऊपर कोई गेन कमाते हो, उसके ऊपर भी कैपिंग कर दिया है। कितने का? 10 करोड़ का। नहीं, अब इसमें एक अलग गेम कर दिया उन्होंने। वो बोलते हैं 10 करोड़ की प्रॉपर्टी है सपोज, और आपने 20 करोड़ में बेचा, आपका कैपिटल गेन हुआ 10 करोड़। सेक्शन 54F पुराना एक्ट बोलता है आपको 20 करोड़ पूरे लगाने पड़ेंगे तो हम आपको 10 करोड़ का बेनिफिट देंगे। अब देखो नया लॉ क्या बोलता है, सुनिएगा। आपने 12 करोड़ सपोज इसी को एग्जाम्पल कंटिन्यू करते हैं। इसी एग्जाम्पल में हमने घर बेचा 30 करोड़ का, कॉस्ट है 10 करोड़, कैपिटल गेन हुआ 20 करोड़ का। सरकार कहती है पहले आप पूरा कंसिडरेशन तो लगाएंगे ही लगाएंगे, लेकिन 10 करोड़ के ऊपर जो भी आपने पैसा कमाया है उसके ऊपर आपको प्रोपोर्शनेट टैक्स देना पड़ेगा। सर प्रोपोर्शनेट टैक्स कितना देना पड़ेगा? जितना आपका गेन है मल्टीप्लाइड बाय योर इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉन योर सेल कंसिडरेशन। आप मेरी बात समझ रहे हो? जितना आपने लगाया उसके ऊपर जितना आपको मिला मल्टीप्लाइड बाय गेन, प्रोपोर्शनेट आपको टैक्स देना पड़ेगा। सर इसका बेनिफिट क्या होगा? सरकार का यहां पे टैक्स कलेक्शन थोड़ा बढ़ जाएगा। एज ऑलवेज डिमोनेटाइजेशन में भी मोदी जी ने कुछ किया था, इस बार फिर मोदी जी ने नया काम किया है, सेक्शन 80G को पकड़ लिया है। सर सेक्शन 80G क्या है? डोनेशन। सर 3 डोनेशन को गायब कर दिया है, राजीव गांधी, जवाहरलाल नेहरू और इंदिरा गांधी। अगर आप इनमें से किसी में भी जमा करोगे पैसा, हम आपको 80G का डिडक्शन नहीं देंगे। सर आप किस पे जमा करें? प्रधानमंत्री ड्राउट में, प्रधानमंत्री का ये, प्रधानमंत्री का वो, आप इस सब में जमा करें। एक रिक्वेस्ट और है, मैं मोदी जी को नहीं बोल पाऊंगा, हो सकता है सर आपका जो 45 करोड़ का बजट है, जस्ट 2 more minutes आई एम डन। आपका जो 45 करोड़ का बजट है उसमें जो स्कीम्स में पैसा जा रहा है वो 19.44 CR का है, जिसमें वो खेलो इंडिया, नहाओ इंडिया, जो भी है, गोवर्धन जनधन, जो भी योजना है वो जरूरी है, उसमें हम कुछ नहीं कर सकते। सर मेन मुद्दा जो है वो ये है, ट्रांसफर, इस्टेब्लिशमेंट एंड अदर एक्सपेंडिचर। सर जो इसको TOE बोलते हैं हम, 25.59, करीब करीब 26 करोड़ रुपया सरकार अपनी मशीनरी चलाने के लिए उस बजट में से यूज कर रही है। दैट्स अ ह्यूज इन्वेस्टमेंट, ह्यूज इन्वेस्टमेंट। इट इज 25.59, अप्रोक्सीमेटली 26 करोड़, मतलब 45 करोड़ का 26 करोड़ रुपया सिर्फ ट्रांसफर, इस्टेब्लिशमेंट एंड अदर एक्सपेंडिचर में गया। सर ये इसमें क्या क्या आता है? इसमें सरकार का घर, सरकार की गाड़ी, सरकार का तेल, सरकार ने कॉफी पिया, चाय पिया, समोसा खाया, वो सब इसी में ही आता है। अब अगर हम स्कीम्स को खत्म करते हैं तो सरदारा सर का हाथ खड़ा हो जाता है कि सर एग्रीकल्चर को तो आपको कुछ ना कुछ देना पड़ेगा, खेल को बढ़ावा देना पड़ेगा, किसी न किसी योजना को देना पड़ेगा, तो उसमें हम छेड़छाड़ नहीं कर सकते। हम अगर ट्रांसफर, इस्टेब्लिशमेंट और अदर एक्सपेंडिचर को रिड्यूस कर पाए तो ये जो बर्डन पड़ रहा है हमारे ऊपर 12.19 का लाख करोड़ का जो हम लोन ले रहे हैं, उस पर शायद से कम हो जाएगा, शायद से। या सपना।
Thank you, sir. Thank you to give insights about taxation.
सर अभी आप बोले हैं कि सरकार अपने ऊपर ह्यूज अमाउंट खर्चा कर रही है। सर सरकार हमारी आपके पैसे से US जा रही है, वहां से स्कीम लेके आ रही है सर हमारे आपके लिए, तो उसमें क्या दिक्कत?
देखो सरदाना सर वकील साहब हैं, मैं चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट हूँ। लॉ में 2 इंटरप्रिटेशन होते हैं। अगर लॉ का एक इंटरप्रिटेशन होता तो कोर्ट कचहरी नहीं होता। अब आप मेरे इंटरप्रिटेशन को गलत साबित नहीं कर सकते। आप अपनी जगह ठीक हो, मैं अपनी जगह ठीक हूं। वी कैन एग्री टू डिसएग्री। आप गलत नहीं कह रहे, आप बहुत सही बात बोल रहे हो कि जब तक हम देखेंगे नहीं, हम सीखेंगे नहीं, हम आगे कैसे अप्लाई करेंगे। मेरा सिर्फ ये कहना है, वहां क्यों जाके देख रहे हो, व्हाट्सएप वीडियो पे ही देख लो।
So students, I have a question. Please, students, I have a question. So please, can you please tell me, अमेरिका रिच है इसलिए वहां सड़कें हैं, या वहां सड़कें हैं इसलिए अमेरिका रिच है? So To make our country rich, it is most important that we have to pay taxes. Agreed or not? So, lots of questions that I have in my mind. Why education sector is neglected? Why healthcare sector is neglected in our country? But we this not permit by time so that I can ask some question. So just a quick comment from all the panelists. Why education sector and health sector is neglected in our country? Particularly in this budget as well. And every budget, it is neglected.
Should I be critical? Whether we like it or not, education is business in India. कृपया शांति बनाए रखें. देखिए, अगर आपको सुनने की इच्छा नहीं है तो मत आया कीजिए. We have to be very clear what we are up to. जिस जगह जहां हो उस जगह का डेकोरम मेंटेन करना पहली जिम्मेवारी. आप मंदिर में जाते हैं तो पिक्चर हॉल की तरह बिहेव नहीं करते, पिक्चर हॉल में जाते हैं तो मंदिर की तरह बिहेव नहीं करना चाहिए. This is something which is self-discipline. Nobody should teach us. The biggest problem in education in India is that educations have become a politically charged sector. आप एक हिसाब लगाइए कि हिंदुस्तान में जितने लोग फॉरेन एजुकेशन के लिए जाते हैं, कम से कम 3 लाख करोड़ रुपए सालाना इस देश का फॉरेन एक्सचेंज बाहर जाता है. क्या हिंदुस्तान में हम सारी कंपनियों को इनवाइट कर रहे हैं? हम कहते हैं गूगल यहां आए, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट यहां आए, सब आए. हम ये पॉलिसीज क्यों नहीं बनाते कि हार्वर्ड यहां आए, प्रिंसटन यहां आए, ऑक्सफोर्ड यहां आए? क्यों रेजिस्टेंस है उसका? कभी सोचा है आपने? 3 लाख करोड़ नेट बचता है फॉरेन एक्सचेंज, क्योंकि हम नहीं चाहते कि एजुकेशन में कंपटीशन आए. हमारे यहाँ पे फैकल्टीज, promoters of the education, politicians, those who have a in education business, they all resist change in education like any other business activity. कोई कंपटीशन नहीं चाहता है. अगर आज यहाँ पे हार्वर्ड होता और मान लीजिए दुनिया के 50 कैंपसेस होते, बेस्ट ऑफ द कैंपसेस, और दूसरी तरफ कैट के एग्जाम होते, आप कहां अप्लाई करते? दिस इज रियलिटी. वन टू एक्सेप्ट. तो आप अब एजुकेशन रिफॉर्म कौन कर रहा है? सो कॉल्ड एजुकेशनिस्ट कमेटी उन्हीं की होगी. उसमें कुछ पॉलिटिशियन होंगे, कुछ ब्यूरोक्रेट होंगे, कुछ एजुकेशनिस्ट होंगे. किसका इंटरेस्ट रिफॉर्म में? किसी का नहीं है. तो इसीलिए नहीं हो रहा है. इसमें कौन सा रॉकेट साइंस है? एंड ऑफ द डे वी ऑल आर ह्यूमन बीइंग्स. इकोनॉमी इज ए वन लाइन सब्जेक्ट. हम जितनी मर्जी थ्योरी, अंग्रेजी पेपर लिखते रहे, थ्योरी बनाते रहे, इकोनॉमी इज ए वन लाइन सब्जेक्ट. एवरी इंडिविजुअल वुड लाइक टू मैक्सिमाइज हिज और हर गेन. अब जितनी मैनेजमेंट थ्योरी है, जितने एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन हैं, ये उस लाइन को प्रूव करने में लगे कि फायदा कैसे मेरा बढ़े. तभी तो मेहनत करते हो, तभी तो नई टेक्नोलॉजी लाते हो, तभी तो ट्रेनिंग लेते हो, तभी तो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बनाते हो, तभी तो स्किल डेवलपमेंट करते हो, तभी तो कोलैबोरेशन करते हो, तभी इनोवेशन करते हो. फायदा होगा तभी तो करोगे. जब फायदा ही नहीं है तो कौन टाइम वेस्ट करेगा? तो डिसीजन मेकिंग में भी आपको अगर फायदा नहीं हो रहा है तो आप डिसीजन क्यों ले रहे हो? जब मुझे पता है कि कंपटीशन आने से मेरी इनकम घटेगी, मेरे पास स्टूडेंट नहीं आएंगे, सारे फॉरेन कैंपसेस में चले जाएंगे, आईएम्स में, आईआईटीज में मान लीजिए बच्चे आना कम हो जाते हैं, प्राइवेट सेक्टर पे प्रेशर बढ़ जाता है. जितने पॉलिटिशियंस ने इतने बड़े बड़े मेडिकल कॉलेज, इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज, मैनेजमेंट कॉलेज खोले हुए हैं, वहां कौन जाने वाला है? तो जब मेरी दुकान बंद हो जाएगी तो मैं कंपटीशन क्यों लेके आऊं भाई? इसमें कौन सा रॉकेट साइंस है? जब भी किसी सेक्टर में रिफॉर्म्स नहीं होता है, आपको एक बात मान लेनी चाहिए कि आउटडेटेड सिस्टम से किसी को फायदा हो रहा है। उस आउटडेटेड सिस्टम में किसको फायदा हो रहा है, दैट इज द विलन फॉर प्रिवेंटिंग द रिफॉर्म्स। अब वो कितना पावरफुल है, उतना ज्यादा रेजिस्टेंस आएगा रिफॉर्म में। इसमें कोई इकोनॉमिक थ्योरी, पार्लियामेंट डिस्कशन, एजुकेशन की जरूरत नहीं है, कॉमन सेंस चाहिए लाइफ में। तो आप एनालिस्ट हो, मैनेजमेंट में एक ही चीज सिखाई जाती है। 2 साल जो आप पढ़ रहे हो ना इकोनॉमिक्स में, मार्केटिंग, फाइनेंस वगैरह 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 वगैरह, ये सब टूल्स हैं, इनमें कुछ नहीं। द ओनली थिंग विच यू हैव टू डेवलप इन योर लाइफ इज हाउ टू थिंक लॉजिकली। अगर आपने ये स्किल डेवलप कर लिया, कहीं मार नहीं खाओगे। फिर चाहे आप मार्केटिंग की बात करो, चाहे फाइनेंस की बात करो, चाहे एचआर की बात करो, अगर आप लॉजिकल सोच रहे हो तो यू विल ऑलवेज कम टू द राइट डिसीजन। तो अगर एजुकेशन में रिफॉर्म नहीं हो रहा है, तो एज ए फ्यूचर ऑफ इंडिया आपको यह सोचना पड़ेगा हु इज प्रिवेंटिंग। क्योंकि सबको लगता है रिफॉर्म होना चाहिए, एजुकेशन क्वालिटी इंप्रूव होनी चाहिए, हेल्थ सर्विसेज इंप्रूव होनी चाहिए, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इंप्रूव होना चाहिए, सब यही कह रहे हैं ना। पहला सवाल यह आता है कि हो क्यों नहीं रहा, कौन टांग अड़ा रहा है, उसका क्या इंटरेस्ट है। जिस दिन आपने इस चीज को समझना शुरू कर दिया, यूथ ऑफ इंडिया ने, यह देश बदल जाएगा। धन्यवाद।
There is a question again.
I just want to add something to this.
Okay.
So, sir, जो आप बात बोले थे ना, एजुकेशन को क्यों नहीं जा रहा है, मैम 20 पैसा गया ब्याज में। अब देखो सीधी 20 पैसा गया ब्याज में, 8 पैसा गया डिफेंस में। अब आप बोलो डिफेंस को कम करो, चाइना तैयार बैठा हुआ है। 7 पैसा गया सब्सिडी में, सब्सिडी के लिए इकोनॉमिक्स बैठे हैं।
Malhotra sir, can I supplement what you're saying? We don't want subsidized education. We want quality education.
Yes.
So we don't want government to spend. Give us good campuses. मैं 5, 7, 15 लाख रुपए आज IIM में दे रहा हूं ना। What is the fees in IIM? तो हार्वर्ड भी अगर यह कैंपस खोलेगा तो मैं 15 लाख दे दूंगा ना यार। हमें सरकार से नहीं चाहिए। हम क्यों सरकार के बोझ बनना चाहते हैं? हमें आप क्वालिटी एजुकेशन दीजिए, हमें सरकार के लिए सब्सिडी नहीं चाहिए। Please understand why we look at government for everything. This country is not short of funds. हम बात कर रहे थे एमएसएमई की, सारे एमएसएमई वाले रोते हैं, घाटा हो रहा है, दुखी हैं। किसी की कंपनी बंद तो नहीं हुई, सबके घर हो रहे हैं, सब विदेश जाते हैं टूर करने, गाड़ियां हर दूसरे तीसरे साल बदलते हैं, लेकिन कंपनी घाटे में है। ये इस देश में अगर मोदी साहब प्लगिंग कर रहे हैं, ये लूप होल्स ब्लॉक किए जा रहे हैं इन द नेम ऑफ टैक्सेशन एंड स्कीम्स, ये देश के लिए अच्छा है।
Sir, I would like to say one more thing. We have introduced NEP long back, but still it is neglected. Most of the institutes are not following NEP. So can't we establish a separate ministry or separate body that can help us to implement NEP on a, on a war level in all over India?
Sir, madam, very important point. लाइफ में मैं बहुत एक सिंपल चीज कहता हूं, देखिए दुनिया को बदलने हम नहीं चले, हमने ठेका नहीं ले रखा है कि पूरी दुनिया बदली जाए। क्या मैं कर रहा हूं? निज पर शासन फिर अनुशासन। Am I doing my job properly? If I'm following the best of the practices, giving best of the education to my students in my campus, दुनिया अपने आप ही आएगी, कंपटीशन को समझ में आएगा कि अच्छी एजुकेशन का फायदा क्या है, उसको बाजार में सरवाइव करना होगा, वो अपग्रेड करेगा। कंपटीशन इज द बेस्ट वे टू चेंज द सोसाइटी एंड द इकोनॉमी। डोंट लुक एट गवर्नमेंट, हमने कोई ठेका नहीं ले रखा है कि साहब उसको सुधार दो, उसको सिखा दो, एक कमेटी बना दो, सब्सिडी दे दो। ये सिर्फ इनएफिशिएंसीज को कवर करने के तरीके हैं। मैं बहुत क्लियर हूं इस मामले में। अगर आप बाजार में कंपटीशन में खड़े नहीं हो सकते, यू आर मोस्ट वेलकम टू वैनिश फ्रॉम द सीन, so that you create space for better people to come into the place. क्योंकि मार्केट में प्रॉब्लम क्या है? Inefficiencies, incompetencies, poor quality have captured the shelf space. Unfortunately, in India, we are satisfactory underperformers. We as citizens and consumers tolerate inefficiency and poor quality, and then we blame others. We are responsible. So point here comes up is, are we playing our role as a citizen of India? Stop blaming others. मैं हमेशा कहता हूं, आप बाजार जाते हैं, आपको खराब खाना मिलता दुकान में, रेस्टोरेंट में, कितने लोगों ने उस दुकान के खिलाफ फोटो खींच के सोशल मीडिया पे डाला है कि दिस कंपनी और दिस शॉप इज सेलिंग जंक, डोंट कम हियर? कितनों ने किया? कुछ नहीं। गाली देंगे, पैसा देंगे, वापस आ जाएंगे, मजा नहीं आया करके घर बैठ जाएंगे। यू फेल्ड इन कॉन्ट्रीब्यूटिंग इन सोशल डेवलपमेंट। प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड, 140 करोड़ लोग जिस दिन कंट्रीब्यूट करने लग गए ना, इस देश को कोई नहीं रोक सकता। लेकिन somebody else should clean the dirt for me, ऐसा नहीं होता।
In my view, respectfully disagree with him. Education is not a private good, right? It's a public good. And here, not in every area in the economy, you want competition. Education, even you have a poor, he has equal right to access and get the education, right? So it's a responsibility of government to provide them education, right? Equal education, equal opportunity, right? When it comes to foreign university in India, nobody, I think, from the IITs or IIMs, in best of my knowledge, opposing it. I just, for your information, I tell you, Bakoni Business School had a center in Mumbai. Right, it's closed down because no students were going there. You have the Harvard, Stanford, Yale, this type of institution, nowhere in the world they have established full-fledged campus. China tried, right? Some places they have for executive educations, right? You have some of the B-grade institutions present in the Gulf countries, in the Dubai, Sharjah. Would you like to go there? No, right? If Yale is coming here, yes, full-fledged, then you may consider. Then not any top 20 universities from US coming to India. Anyway, they did not go to China, they did not go Singapore, they did not go anywhere, right? In India, when you see that the quality of education is mainly depending on the education, students and the faculty, and we together have to improve it. And you can't completely rule out the government presence either in the elementary education, secondary education, or in higher education. Government is a government responsibility. They have to take care, right? So if you see, for example, IIMs, it's not a single rupees we take from the government. It's the only land that they have allotted, right? It's a self-sufficient. In IITs, yes, because in IITs, if they started charging from the students, then the BTech cost would be around 40 lakh rupees. Then not everyone able to afford it. I understand the problem that you have in only area, that is medical education. So students going to Belarus, Ukraine, Bangladesh, Myanmar for medical education, they're not going for management education. They are not going for pharmacy, biotech, right? Because there you have the IMA has a strong regions. They don't want that AIMS take 2000 MBBS students, right? Certainly, and government respecting them, right? Because you have to respect the technical people. They're saying that if we take 1000 students, then the education will be compromised. And then your whole health sector will be compromised,
Right. So you have the issue. Yes, we have to. So what they are doing, they're starting more medical colleges. Right. But unfortunately, seats you have the 75, 100, 150, something like that, that will not cater the demand. Yes. So it's a one sector, it's a management education. We are doing best in the world in the engineering sector, right? At least the BTech level, UG level, we are doing extremely good, right? So it's not that presence of MIT, AIL, things will change. You have the ISB. See what they are doing. You have the 48 lakh rupees fee, 2,000 students, and you have the faculty coming from Harvard for 4 days. In 4 days, you have the financial management course completed. Would you like to go something like that? Certainly not. Right. So you have the faculty will come from MIT for 5 days, 6 days. ISB situation is just the brand you have now. No, the faculty is not first preference is ISB. Students not first preference is ISB. Right. See how the faculty moving out from ISB, going to Ahmedabad, Lucknow, other places. Right. So we have to understand it's not a silver bullet that you have the AIL will come, MIT will come, Harvard will come, and things will change. As far as budget is concerned, the school education is part of the state government. More, if you keep the provision, it means more Kendriya Vidyalaya. So it's you entering in the state's area. Unfortunately, it's their responsibility. Let them do it. You provide, in case they need help, you have to provide. Higher education, yes, I think perhaps you have enough IITs, enough IIMs, medical colleges is required improvement, and there are many ways we can still improve. Right. Certainly, I'm saying not everything is great. Right. We need to improve. We need to improve the quality, efficiency, equity, everything in the education sector, and we need to work on that. And just not money going to solve it.
Let me supplement with a small point here. My way of looking at education is please make school education free. Now, in this budget, there is a digital library, digitization that will definitely spread the quality education throughout the country. That's one. Second, when it comes to higher education, I'll still say allow competition to come in. I'll be very happy after 5 years, Harvard will face problem in India that nobody's taking admission in the campus. This will be a great thing because then there will be competition between IIMs and Harvards or Boston or whatever you call it. Let them wind up and go. At least we know where we stand because this will force IIMs to upgrade. It will force Harvard to upgrade if they have to save their goodwill in India. Allow competition to come in. Simply assuming because they are not doing work in Brazil or Dubai or China is not an answer. Ford came into India, wind up and gone. Outcome, Tata quality has gone up. Because then they realized कि India का कोई नहीं खरीद रहा था. Competition में जा रहे थे. When they realized कि customer want world class quality, today all Indian cars are far better than many of the multinationals. Agreed or not? When this is, let me give you example of apples. जब तक imported apple नहीं आते थे, हिंदुस्तान में 20 रुपए किलो सेब मिलता था. जब वॉशिंगटन एप्पल 150 रुपए बिकता था तो हिंदुस्तान के एप्पल की कीमत 90 रुपए हो गई थी. Point is that consumer must have a reference point to compare. And third point that we are doing great job, India is a agro economy. Okay? We need good managers for agro economy. There was a Center for Agriculture in Management in IIM Ahmedabad. Because of faculty politics within IIM Ahmedabad, there is a proposal to close down that. Is this sensible approach of management of IIM Ahmedabad? Where you need the best of the manager, you want to close down that faculty because you don't like the department, because their average salary is higher than the rest. Is this management institutions of India contributing to economy? Let's be very straight in fact. So my way of looking into is allow free economy even in education. Keep free education, those who want to take to the government schools or wherever they want. Keep private, I want to pay and have extra facility, choice is mine. Give me IIMs and IITs, very good. Give me also benchmarking against best of campuses in India. Let me decide as a customer, not the government. Let there be competition. Whoever will survive will depend upon who delivers and who performs. Thank you.
Let me just put this in perspective. Education is no longer about people getting a degree and getting a job. This is the motto force for the knowledge economy. The world is moving towards knowledge intensive production. In biotechnology, in robotics, quantum computing, quantum communications, in nanotechnology, the world is changing. If we continue to stick with 19th century industries and 19th century knowledge, we will be left far behind. Which country in the world produces the largest number of research publications? Any idea? Scientific research papers, which country produces the maximum number? No idea? The USA produces the maximum number of research publications. It files the maximum number of original patents. Do you know the number 2 country? France, Germany, Japan. It is China. Now, Vijayji, China did not do this by inviting Harvard into China. China did this by building up its own educational structure. Now, the quality of education in India is low for a variety of reasons, and the absence of competition is one factor, but not the primary one. Knowledge is created. When the British set up universities in India, they did not set up universities to produce knowledge. They set up universities to teach people to learn English and the customs of the English so that they could become administrators in this country, could become part of the civil service in this country and help the British. But this British set up Oxford and Cambridge, as did all European universities, countries in their own countries. Universities are centers of knowledge production. In India, we do not have a concept of producing new knowledge. We think knowledge is finite, given. It is there in the Vedas. This is our traditional cultural notion about knowledge. This is wrong. I come from Kerala. There is an illustrious Malayali called Shankara. Shankara was once called the Sarvajna. He who knew everything. This is our culture. It's also a culture that the guru has to be respected without question. You cannot question what he says. You cannot question what he gives in the classroom as knowledge. This is also a culture. A hierarchy which permeates a classroom that is inimical to knowledge. Today we know that knowledge constantly expands, self-corrects. Notions that we thought were correct are questioned and changed. We know that the earth moves around the sun, not the other way around, at the most elementary level. So this kind of a cultural change we need. We need massive investment in education. Do you know how much India spends on R&D? As a proportion of GDP, 0.7%. Countries that want to do well, they spend much more on R&D. With a GDP of $20 trillion, the US spends near about 2% of GDP on R&D. Korea spends 4% on R&D. A company like Huawei, a Chinese telecom company, spends 20% of the revenues on R&D. And in India, we spend 0.7% of GDP on R&D. And when a company spends on R&D, they spend it on marketing research and try to get the tax incentive on that. Yes. So we have a basic problem with education and knowledge production. We must accept this. What he said is absolutely correct. School education is the state's responsibility. Some states have done it well. Kerala became literate long before other states became fully literate. Tamil Nadu is literate. The states in the south are ahead in this matter. States in the north are catching up. But once they catch up, they will also shake the world because the sheer number of people we have. A guard at the Times of India building, he was an MA in sociology from Bharatpur University. He was a guard. So what is the good of training people to give them degrees when that knowledge they impart, the so-called knowledge, they have actually no practical use? So there are many things that are wrong with our education, and all of them cannot be cured with money. Some of them are to do with cultural practices, cultural attitudes, some of the doubt, governance. If a teacher who is appointed and draws a government salary doesn't go to a school and teach, and if you cannot control the teacher, discipline that teacher, it's poor governance and you're failing people. Pratham survey this year came out. Class 5 student cannot do a class to sum. You cannot read a text after being in class 6. What kind of students are we producing? And if they come up to college and we give them free education, what do they know? You don't know what a right angle triangle is, and you teach them trigonometry. What do they use? So please understand, this is a huge tragedy we are talking about. 140 Indians, 70 crore Indians are below 28 years of age. This is a median age. Out of this, the college-going people, school-going populations, they're huge. The largest chunk of young potential creators of knowledge in the world reside in India. And we are letting them down by giving them trashy education. This is a great tragedy for humanity at large, not just for Indians. And we need to address this. But this is a complex problem. The new education policy, to my mind, gets many things right. It's called the national education policy, no longer new. Critical thinking is an integral part of this. Education in the mother tongue is an integral part of this, to which most of you will be opposed. We have all grown up thinking that English medium education is the route to salvation. Can anyone of you sitting here name one Sanskrit poet apart from Kalidas? We are a country where for 5,000 years, the human sound has had meaning. We have a cultural history and legacy that is richer than that of most parts of the world. And all of you, the cream de la cream of young India, completely unaware of this. This is what English language education, English medium education does to us. It deprives us of our roots in our culture, gives us a false sense of superiority over those who don't know English. The Chinese don't know English, Koreans don't know English, the Indonesians don't know English. But they produce world-class products, world-class services, inventions, they forge ahead. And we, with our false sense of superiority, that everything depends on English. I studied in the Malayalam medium up to class 10. I know my culture, I know my language. I also know English better than most people. There is no contradiction between learning in your mother tongue as a medium of instruction and mastering another language. And this is also an integral part of our education, another problem that needs to be fixed. So it's a multi-dimensional problem, all of which cannot be solved by money, but some certainly can be. And we do need a larger outlay on education. And that's the government's goal, to devote 6% of GDP on education. We hardly manage 3.8% of GDP on education. We need to raise that level. But also, everything cannot be funded by the government. What Vijay said is correct. The government cannot fund all levels of higher education. People are willing to finance it themselves. So you let them. Also provide scholarships, free ships, student loans at concessional rates. In the US, student loans are guaranteed by the government. Therefore, these loans are very, very cheap. And that's why 70% of students who pass out of high school, go on to college. India, 27% are in some level of higher education, 11% through distance learning. We need to increase this because this is where the future of the industrial sectors of the economy resides, and we need to address this.
Okay.
Arun sir, see, my dear students, all three of them are absolutely correct when we talk about education. It is an infinite yet a very debatable area which we are talking about, right? Chandanji is correct when we say that the education is a free commodity. It's an essential commodity, has to be provided by the government. When we talk about the the population, when it was 35 crores, 60 crores, or 70 crores, or 90 crores. Now, it was manageable by the government. It was manageable by the state. Now, when the population has reached 240 crores, so I was telling you in the class, if you remember, so it is not only the government, like Vijayji said and Arun sir said, it's not possible for the government to handhold everything. So it should be a kind of PPP model. It's, the public partnership, private partnership model has to come up. Like Arun sir is saying, if the private player are okay to come up with and participate in the education, you may call it a commercialization of education, business of education. No harm in it. No mind to hear that also. But yes, but it facilitates for educating the larger amount, the larger chunk of the people, larger chunk of the population, which government might not facilitate. I am a student of, total, starting from my, the primary school to my higher education, being a student of the government institutions of repute. But that may not be possible when you take, if you take the percentage of the population that being taught by the government institutions, it's going to be quite low. So somehow, somewhere, someone has to rope in, someone has to come in, right? Jab hum padhte the, shayad in our graduation days, Chandanji would agree with me that in economics we used to have free commodities like water and air. Sabhi ka equal rights hai water and air ke liye, but today water and air are not becomes the free commodities. They are the most expensive commodities at this point of time, and so happens to the education. Let me tell you, it is all about when we talk about particular area, particular landscape, we are limiting that landscape into one or two criteria. Like Arun sir said, but Vijayji said that it has a multi-dimensional factors we need to take care of, right? The population is increasing at a multifold. It's in a geometric rate, 2 multiplied by 2. So what about the resources? What about the fundings? What about the tax collection? What about other requirements of the population? That also need to think about. पहले requirement कम हुआ करता था, लोग कम होते थे, resources ज़्यादा था हमारे पास. So education, water, air used to be the public commodity, free commodity. But it is not possible now with 140 crores of the population. And that to compete with others. Of course, quality, competition, funding, other things will come in, rope in, right? But whenever we think of something, that's what I think it's a very, very debatable and endless discussion we can have. Not only to education, but other free commodities, freebies, which comes to our mind sometimes, right? So we need to be multifolded, multidimensional in our approach to discuss anything. Thank you so much.
Jain sir, you want to say something? You were saying something.
I don't know how good or bad it is, but getting an education in a foreign degree or a foreign institution, trust me, it's very expensive, very expensive. Without government funding, without government aid, for any middle class family, it will be very difficult. So you cannot just say that it is your responsibility or it is government's responsibility. It has to come mutual, but at the same time, education is something where the government needs to put in something more. We don't have R&D departments in education institutions, but where
Going 38,000 people this particular budget.
sir,
8,000 teachers have been appointed for 740 Kendriya Vidyalaya. If I drop right,
But in research and development, if I say about England, where I was for 4.5 years, the highest number of professionals who are getting the highest payments with regard to remunerations, either they are solicitors or they are teachers. Third one is doctors. So they are putting more into research and development than into anything else. So there was one plank written at a particular bridge. It says that the bridge is going to expire on such and such date. So whether the bridge is okay or not, they are going to just replace the bridge because that is the expiry date. In our case, in our India, until unless 400 people die there, we won't get it expired. अभी बोलेंगे हाँ ये पुराना हो गया था क्योंकि हमने रिसर्च किया ही नहीं. रिसर्च पे हमको पैसा लगाना पड़ेगा. R&D पे हमारे पास पैसा नहीं है. सारा तो पैसा हमारा ब्याज, वो मैं जो बात कर रहा था, बहुत पैसा हमारा, और सर ये ब्याज ही नहीं है. 1,50,000 करोड़ का तो सिर्फ ब्याज पड़ा हुआ है. ओ असल पड़ी हुई है तो हम देख ही नहीं रहे. हम तो सिर्फ ब्याज की बात कर रहे हैं. वो असल पे होगा तो पता ही नहीं. फिजिकल डेफिसिट कम होगा, अच्छी बात है, और कम कर लो, लेकिन लोन तो पे करो. लोन नहीं पे हो रहा. थैंक यू मैम.
So, students, let's not look into कि हमें क्या नहीं मिला. Let's see what we have got. So, if you look into, because we are talking about education policy, education expenditure, I must say 11,000 doctors की seat बढ़ाई है. So let us say that कुछ मिला. चाहे वो 21 लाख डॉक्टर्स हमारे इंडिया में हमें अभी भी जरूरत है, लेकिन 11,000 seats has been increased. So let's not go into कि हमें क्या नहीं मिला. Let's see what we have got, right? So now I'm inviting only 3 questions because already the time is running. So any student who want to ask some questions? Anybody?
Hello. Sir. Hello. Hello, sir. Good afternoon. I am Aman Kumar, PGDM batch 2022-24. And sir, my question to you is that our government first priority is to focus on finance sector. And as per the NPCI data, our transaction is 74 billion transaction is more than 74 billion transactions. But as we are watching that in this particular area, Paytm and PhonePe is making huge losses. If a government is focusing on this in this particular sector, then why they are making huge losses? Even we are living in the era of technology, AI and machine learning as well. So, Vijay Sardana, आप
पेटीएम को नुकसान क्यों हो रहा है? सवाल ये है.
Yes sir, PhonePe and Paytm.
उनकी बैलेंस शीट उठा के देखिए कहां पैसा वेस्ट कर रहे हैं. See, the point here comes up is initial investment definitely is going to be there. You have to create an infrastructure. IT systems, management, security, cyber security is a very expensive activity. Point here comes up is that are they continuous burning cash? As it was earlier discussed that startups are cash burning models, unfortunately in India. If they are delivering services, let me give you a very interesting example to you. We were talking of role of government. जब demonetization हुआ था, okay? I was the first one on Indian television to decipher what is demonetization, क्योंकि हर जर्नलिस्ट का फोन आया था यार ये क्या हो गया अचानक. तो पूरी रात हम लोग, unfortunately now Rohit Sardana is not there, स्टूडियो में रात भर हमने बैठ के 10-12 चैनल्स पे लोगों को समझाया कि डिमोनेटाइजेशन का मतलब क्या होता है. उसके बाद गवर्नमेंट लेके आई 15 दिन बाद डिजिटल पेमेंट, जस्ट टू जस्टिफाई, क्योंकि थिंग्स आर गोइंग आउट ऑफ कंट्रोल. यू कैन सी ऑल माय 60 days डेली वीडियो प्रोग्राम्स. जब डिजिटल पेमेंट लेके आए, गवर्नमेंट ने कहा आप क्रेडिट कार्ड यूज करिए, डिजिटल पेमेंट यूज करिए, उस समय ट्रांजैक्शन कॉस्ट होती थी, ठीक, 2% अराउंड। मेरा सवाल भारत सरकार से एक था, मैंने तो डिजिटाइजेशन नहीं मांगा था। अगर एज ए सिटीजन इन दिल्ली, आई एम लिविंग इन दिल्ली, आई वांट टू मेक एवरीथिंग डिजिटल, 1 लाख रुपए मेरा कॉस्ट ऑफ सर्वाइवल है, तो 2,000 रुपए मुझे कॉस्ट ऑफ ट्रांजैक्शन देना है, साल में 24,000 रुपए देना है, which is equivalent to my total water and sewage treatment bill of citizen of Delhi, or more than that. I'm not interested in shifting from currency to digitization. And my answer to government of India was, when my Twitter is free, when my WhatsApp is free, when my Facebook is free, why digital payment cannot be free? जब मैसेज जा सकता है फ्री में, तो पेमेंट ही तो लिखना है कि टेकी अरुण साहब को 10,000 रुपए दिए गए और उनके अकाउंट में पहुंच जाए। उसके लिए 2% किस बात का? इफ यू वांट टू हैव इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ ऑफ द सिटीजंस, फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन थ्रू डिजिटल इकोनॉमी, मेक इट फ्री। आउटकम, वी आर द लार्जेस्ट digital transaction economy in the world. Credit card, Visa card, Master card, all in trouble. What is so special in Paytm? So my way of looking at is, they have to evolve their business model. If they have created a business model which was based on fee model and not able to generate the required fee, they also have to innovate how to service consumers at low cost. Because as a citizen, I have alternate options. I will go to UPI, why I go to Paytm? So my way of looking is very simple. It is company specific activity. It is not government of India's duty that why Paytm is making losses. Even if they close down tomorrow, nothing will happen to this country. So that is what the positivity of market economy. Fittest will survive, who will deliver the quality to the consumer. As a consumer, if I'm happy to use Paytm at 2%, I will continue. If I have a UPI which is better and cheaper, I will migrate. So this is what we have to, as a citizen, as a management students, have to be all the time vigilant. Which model is making sense? Which model is losing steam? Which model is becoming outdated? And that's the beauty of management. And that's what I was saying. And somebody also mentioned, learn critical thinking. Don't take things on face value. Thank you.
So quick question now, please, it's already too late. A quick question.
Good afternoon to all of you. I am Vikas. Recently, Niti Aayog said our budget based on agriculture, and it suggested for 7 pillars for perseverance and sustainability, exports, and increase income in farmers. So, sir, do you think this is based on agriculture? This budget based on agriculture? My question for Arun sir.
Agriculture accounts for hardly 14% of this GDP.
Yes, sir.
Out of agriculture, crops, what do you understand by wheat, etc.? That's only 50% value added. Other 50% is fisheries, animal husbandry, forestry. So the actual contribution of cultivation to the economy is not all that much. However, roughly 40% of our workforce is still engaged in agriculture. So we are not primarily an agrarian economy. Services and then industry, these drive the economy forward. But since a large proportion of the population is engaged in agriculture, budgets will cater to this agricultural sector because you have to get the votes. But the primary focus is on fostering those segments of the economy which will take this country forward, industry and services, which is only natural. At the same time, subsidy has been increased on fertilizers. There are schemes for farmers, there are schemes for fisheries, there are schemes for it to please everybody. But that is not the main thrust of the economy or the budget. It cannot be. because that is only a small portion of the value of output in this country.
But sir, consider more than population.
What?
So India's got more than 55 per pop. So how could you exclusive of this?
I didn't say it's screwed. In fact, 55% doesn't depend on agriculture. 40% of the workforce is engaged in agriculture. 40% of the workforce.
11 pop.
40% of the workforce is engaged in agriculture, producing 14% of GDP, out of which 7% is actually from fisheries, forestry, and the milk economy. So this is the myth. There are many myths. So like the notion that our population is constantly growing, it is not. Our population has stabilized. The total fertility rate is now below 2.1, which is the replacement level. After some point, all of you will become endangered species. Our population will decline, like in China, like in Germany. So these are certain myths that we entertain, that we are an agrarian economy, that India lives in its villages. 33 to 35% of Indians live in towns. 100% would want to live in towns if they had the opportunity. That's why they are migrating. We are not an agrarian economy, and no prosperous country in the world is an agrarian economy. The share of contribution of agriculture to America's GDP would be 2%. Maximum in Europe will be 5%. No country prospers purely on the strength of agriculture.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I would like to add up another dimension to it. जब मैं IIM अहमदाबाद में पढ़ता था तो मेरे को लोग कहते थे यार तू एग्रीकल्चर में क्यों टाइम वेस्ट कर रहा है? There are more attractive areas. My answer is very simple. आज खाना खाया या नहीं खाया? जिस दिन खाना नहीं खाओगे उस दिन एग्रीकल्चर की चर्चा करेंगे. Let's look into what I'm going to say. 100% food security of India depends on agriculture. 100% nutrition of India depends upon agriculture. 100% healthy citizens depends on agriculture. So agriculture is not per se economic activity. Agriculture has a multifunctional use. Number one. Number two, today we are talking of clean economy. 100% food comes from agriculture. What is the alternate? Tell me. 100% animal and cattle feed or poultry feed or fish feed comes from agriculture. What is the alternate? 100% natural fiber comes from agriculture. What is the alternate? 100% clean energy minus hydrogen comes from agriculture. What is the alternate? We are talking of green, clean, biodegradable, sustainable economy. Remove agriculture. Show me where it is. That's what I'm saying. Let's not look into how much job agriculture is creating, how many factories are there. The fact is, agriculture is providing raw material to 5,000 types of industry, which you don't classify in agriculture, but you classify in industrial activity. What is rubber? What is textile? What is alcohol? What is sugar? They don't classify in agriculture. They all are classified in industrial activity. 5,000 industries get raw material from agriculture. So what we have to appreciate, and 100% environment protection is agriculture. So we have to think not agriculture like a transaction economy. Agriculture is a foundation of any economic activity. Now we are talking about large countries are not dependent on agriculture. How much food they are importing? Pick up their bills. My point is, for a country like 140 crores, which international market can feed you? You need every year 140 million tons of grains for survival. The total world market of food grain is only 20 to 30 million tons. You cannot depend on international market. You have to do in-house for survival, for existence. So I think we have to look at agriculture not as an economy. Unfortunately, numbers, we are trying to compare agriculture with services, this from a balance sheet point of view. Life is not balance sheet. Life is survival and growth. Agriculture contributes 100%. Only then you can run services and industries. Keep that factor in mind. Thank you.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir. My name is Ayushi Kansal. I am from second year batch P. Sir, my after obviously
Interesting question. Answer is simple. Last year after Ukraine, the international fertilizer cost has gone up by from 100 to 216%. Okay. We are importing a lot of feedstock for manufacturing of fertilizer and also finished goods. This year, we are assuming the prices are cooling down because the dispersal price to farmer is constant. Suppose the bag is 300 rupees and my import price is 2000. So you have to pay 1700 subsidy. If prices comes down to 1000 rupees, now I have to give only 700 subsidy. So it is directly related to what is my purchase price and what is my dispersal price. If my purchase price is coming down drastically, I have a leverage to cut down the subsidy. It's pure balance sheet calculation, nothing else. Thank you.
So students, I know you have many questions in your mind relating to various sectors, but because the time is not permitting us to carry on more, so I would like to call Ruchi to wind up the session.
Thank you so much, ma'am. May I now request our Dean Academics to felicitate Mr. T.K. Arun with a token of gratitude. Thank you so much, sir. May I now request Professor Sapna Jain to felicitate Advocate Vijay Sardana with a token of remembrance. Thank you so much, ma'am. May I now request Dr. Achal Singh to felicitate Dr. Chandan Sharma with a token of joy. Thank you so much, ma'am. May I now request Professor K.P. Kanchana to felicitate C.A. Jayendra Malhotra with a token of prosperity. Thank you so much, ma'am. May I now request Professor Saloni to please propose the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Ruchi. It's my honor and pleasure to propose the vote of thanks on this panel discussion on understanding Union Budget 2023. My big heartfelt thanks to all the eminent personalities who have made their presence felt over here with us. A big round of applause for each one of them. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. My special thanks to our Director General, Sir, Dr. Rajiv Thakur in his absentia, and Dr. Tapan Kumar Nayak, Dean Academics, for being a catalyst for us, and they always stimulate us to do our best in every event which we are doing. Thank you so much, sir. My heartiest congratulations on the behalf of organizing team. My heartiest congratulations to Professor Sapna Jain and Dr. Aanchal Singh for making this event a grand success, and a big round of applause for the Finance Club. My thanks to the IT team, the technical staff, and all the members who have always shown a tireless support to for each and every event. And last but not the least, a big thanks to all the present student over here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Yes, we'll request all the eminent personalities to join us for the lunch. And we will resume our session at 2:50 so we can break for lunch. Thank you. Have a good day.